Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back again today with another fantasy football mock draft. This is the third uploaded today. The first video today was a mock. The second video, I don't know what it is because I haven't recorded it, but this is the second mock of the day. I'm doing two mocks every single day, so if you would like a mock, I will do it for you if you request it down below. Now, I can't necessarily fit it in super close to now. It's probably going to be a week from now when it comes out, but with that said, this is a 12-team half-PPR mock draft from the 12th spot, as requested by Cody B, a subscriber. And I want to thank you guys all for subscribing because now we have reached over 200 subscribers. It means a lot to me. It means a ton. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys very much for being able to give me 200 subscribers. And we're going to be hitting 1,000 soon, hopefully. All right, but if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe because I'm going to help you guys win your fantasy football championship, win your draft, dominate the regular season, pick up the correct waiver wires, do the correct trades, and start the correct players every single week. So, like I said, this is a 12-team mock draft from the 12 position, and it's half PPR. The roster is one quarterback, two running backs, two wideouts, a tight end, flex, kicker, defense, and six bench spots. So, let's get right into the video. So, the first pick is Saquon Barkley, followed by Alvin Kamara, Ezekiel Elliott, Le'Veon Bell, David Johnson, Christian McCaffrey, Michael Thomas, Todd Gurley, and Hopkins, James Conner. So Todd Gurley, that's way too early due to the fact that he has that knee injury, the arthritis of the knee. So don't draft Todd Gurley at all in the first, second, third round. Don't draft him at all. In my opinion, you should stray away from that injury. So right now, if we look at all, the best player available, we got Julio, Tyreek, Odell, Mixon, Cook, Juju, Chubb, all available. Like I say in all these videos, when you're at the end of the draft, this is the best spot if you want to go double wideout. This is where you do it. So you go with Julio and Tyreek, the combo of both. That is quite a good start to the team. Now your running back core is going to be significantly worse because the running backs you get back here in the third and fourth round are not as good in my opinion. So that's why I don't tend to do it, and I prefer to go with one running back and one wideout, typically at the back of the draft here, or double running back depending on the running back value. And the settings. This is half PPR, so obviously a running back that catches passes is better, and a wide receiver that catches a ton of passes is better. So for the running back, looking at the board, it's Joe Mixon, Cook, Chubb, Williams, Melvin Gordon. All players besides Melvin Gordon, I'd be looking at here. I don't love Dalvin Cook, so I really am not looking at him either. So the best running back available, in my opinion, is Mr. Joe Mixon, running back, Cincinnati Bengals now. Joe Mixon last year played pretty well with an offense that was not as good. Jeff Driscoll was the quarterback for a while because Andy Dalton got hurt. Joe Mixon was still able to run with that team. Their line just as shit as last year. Their team pretty much just as shit as last year, and he was able to produce on a shitty team. So I think this year they'll be just as shit, maybe slightly better if Andy Dalton can stay healthy. They have a lot better of a coach. They have Zach Taylor now instead of trash ass Marvin Lewis, or not, yeah, Marvin Lewis. I called him Marvin Jones a few videos ago, but that's a wide receiver. And Marvin Lewis is gone. They've got a new coach, so I believe in Joe Mixon here. After we went Mixon, that makes it an even easier pick because we're going to go wide receiver here, and we're going to go with Julio Jones, in my opinion, the third best fantasy wideout. The best, in my opinion, Devontae Adams. Second best, Hopkins. Third best, Julio or Michael Thomas. It's kind of iffy, but I prefer Julio in most situations. I think Julio this year is going to score more touchdowns than last year. Last year, he didn't start putting the touchdowns on towards the end of the season. I think this year he's going to be throwing more touchdowns. They have a new OC, a new O coordinator. I believe Dirk Cutter is their OC, who used to be their OC back in the day, just a couple of years ago. So we're going to look that up on Google on my phone real quick. Dirk Cutter is indeed the Atlanta Falcons offensive coordinator. Just like I said, I had to double check because I didn't want to sound like a fucking idiot here. So we're going to go with Julio Jones here. They play 11 straight games in the Dome. Makes it a lot easier to get an accurate pass thrown to Julio Jones by an already accurate quarterback of Matt Ryan. 13 total out of 16 games in the Dome. I like Julio here. After went Julio, Travis Kelce went, followed by Odell Beckham Jr., Tyreek Hill, Dalvin Cook, Nick Chubb, Juju Smith-Schuster, Melvin Gordon, Aaron Jones, Mike Evans, Damian Williams, Pat Mahomes, T.Y. Hilton, Leonard Fournette, Kerryon Johnson, Keenan Allen, A.B., Devontae Freeman, Adam Thielen, Derrick Henry, Amari Cooper, and Marlon Mack. So, two tight ends have already been selected. Kelsey typically goes in the first or second round, pretty normal. And then Kittle and Ertz. Kittle went in the 3-9. Ertz will probably follow here in the fourth round. Typically, all three are gone by the fourth round. Pat Mahomes, first quarterback selected at the 2.2, which is pretty typical for a real draft, in my opinion. I think a lot of people view quarterbacks too highly, and Pat Mahomes may come off the board even in your first round, in the second round, in the third round. By the fourth round, typically, he is always 100% gone in real leagues. In my opinion, that's what's going to happen unless you're in an expert league and then quarterbacks go way too late and you get great value later. So we're going to go with the best RB available, in my opinion, and it is looking quite spry here because Marlon Mack went just the pick before us. Not many people went with wide receivers. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 wideouts have went. A lot more running backs have went. As you can see, there's a lot more green than blue. So we are going to go with a wideout first so I could describe why I went with a certain player. Now here, I'd like to go with Stefon Diggs. Now Stefon Diggs was not playing too well at the beginning of last season. He was kind of being iffy, but towards the end of the season, he really started to get a lot more targets and a lot more receptions and a lot more fantasy points. Now, what could that be attributed to? Maybe it's the fact that Kirk Cousins decides he likes him more. Maybe it's the fact that um Adam Thielen was kind of getting shut down. I don't know what it was, but what I do know is if it continues like last year, Stefon Diggs is going to be a great pick in the third round here, and I like him a lot. Honorable mention to Julian Edelman here, who you could 100% pick here because I'm not too worried about that thumb injury. I do know he is more of an injury-prone player, but that doesn't necessarily completely scare me away from him when I know that if he plays just 12 games, he's going to destroy for my team. So, at the fourth round pick, we are looking towards the running back position. And like I said, the running backs are kind of not as good as I would have hoped to for at the end of this pick, but it's kind of normal for it to be like this. I could have hoped for Marlon Mack or a guy like Devontae Freeman to somehow fall to us here in the third round or the third, fourth round swing. But here we got Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery, Kris Carson, the three guys I would look at here. Would I rather go with something that I feel could be quite random? Josh Jacobs, in my opinion, is the most random pick here. He could either be really good. Chucky himself could be using Josh Jacobs a lot here, and Chucky's the coach of the Oakland Raiders. That's what they call him, and I have no idea why they call him that. I think you have to be an older individual to be able to figure that out, but I'm only 20, so I don't know. I don't really completely understand it. But what I do know is that in the past, Chucky himself, the coach, uh, has used running backs heavily in the rookie year. And I think that that's potentially what could happen here for Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs wasn't necessarily a bell cow in college, which could have a negative impact on him. He may get injured, stuff like that. So I'd prefer to go with someone who I feel is more surefire in either Kris Carson or David Montgomery. Kris Carson, I know for a fact, week one through the rest of the season, you can start this guy every single game. David Montgomery, I don't know if I'm starting him necessarily week one or week two, so that could be something that would impact my decision to pick him. Now, David Montgomery, I think just a few weeks in, will become the RB1 on the team, solidify himself in the Jordan Howard role from last year, and play fucking great, like I believe. He could catch the ball, something Jordan Howard cannot do. And he's looking pretty good in all these training camp videos. I'm saying he's going through the defense. They have a great defense on the Bears, and he's able to run straight through them. Now it's training camp, so they may not be trying as hard. You never know, but that obviously is a good sign for David Montgomery. But I'd much rather go with the surefire Kris Carson on a Seattle team that is super run heavy. They love to run the ball, and that is going to be key for your running back because when they run it a lot, that's good. So we're gonna go with Kris Carson here. Now a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Rashad Penny's gonna take his job." Who knows? Maybe he will. But even if he does, it's still going to be 60-40. Carson's still going to be getting a bunch of touches, and it's still going to be advantageous in the fourth round here. After we went Kris Carson, David Montgomery went, followed by Mark Ingram, Brandon Cooks, Julian Edelman, Chris Godwin, Robert Woods, Josh Jacobs, Tyler Lockett, Zach Ertz, Philip Lindsay, Kenyon Drake, Calvin Ridley, Kenny Galladay, Deshaun Watson, A.J. Green, Cooper Kupp, Sony Michel, Jarvis Landry, Mike Williams, Tevin Coleman, Andrew Luck, Tyler Boyd. So, Right now, 1, 2, 3 quarterbacks have already been taken off the board, and 3 tight ends. Like I said, pretty typical. Zach Ertz going and Kittle going before the end of the 4th round. Now, I don't understand why people are picking Andrew Luck so highly now. At the very moment he's dealing with this calf strain injury, right now when I'm recording it, it is the 6th of August at 3:33 p.m. Right now, it seems like it's going to be quite the problem. He may not even play week 1 according to what some people believe on Twitter that are doctors and that talk about fantasy. So, I'm not necessarily sure I'm all in on Andrew Luck, and that could definitely have a negative impact upon T.Y. Hilton. Now, that's why I'm kind of avoiding Andrew Luck. Even anyways, I would go Rodgers over Luck if I was going to pull the trigger in the 5th round on a quarterback, which most of the time I would not do. So it's our pick now, and we have no quarterback. We've got 2 running backs, 2 wideouts, no tight end, no flex, no kicker, no defense. Obviously, no kicker, no defense. Typically, no quarterback or tight end at this spot anyway. So right here, we got the swing. So we have 2 picks in a row. So we're likely here just going to go with a running back or 2 here and just wait till the next round to get another wide receiver because I feel like I am pulling the trigger slightly early on some of these wideouts that I like, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll see after I make this pick. So the running backs we're looking at here is between James White and Lamar Miller. James White is terrible in a format that's standard. This is half PPR, and James White is a target monster. James White finished top 10 in fantasy football last year as a running back, and you may not even have known that because it was kind of silent because he's not much of a real running back. He's more of a receiver that's playing in the running back slot, kind of like Cordero Patterson, if you know what I'm saying, if you know who that guy is. But James White is going to still be solidified in that role as the pass catching guy. They're saying, "Oh, Sony Michel is getting more pass touching work." Of course he is. He's the running back one of the team, and he can catch the ball. But he's eventually going to get hurt. He has similar problems with his knees being fucked. He's got all types of injury problems, and I think James White will be a solid pick here. Now, I could either go with that or go with Lamar Miller, who's definitely a super, super, super safe pick. The thing with going Lamar Miller is he's never really going to disappoint you, but he's never going to win you a week like I believe James White can do. I know Lamar Miller is going to be scoring me 10, 12 points every single week, locked and loaded. He's going to be good for that. But James White it pretty much has like the 8-point floor, but then could go way above that if he catches a bunch of passes and scores a touchdown. So I really like James White here at this pick. So after we went James White, now looking at the wide receivers, like I said, I am kind of iffy to jump on board with a one of these wide receivers. So I'd much rather just go with a quarterback here that fell pretty far. And if Aaron Rodgers falls to you in the 6th round, I feel like you have to take him. Now, week 1, he's obviously not going to have the greatest game against the Bears. Maybe he will. Who knows? Because of how well he played against the Bears last year. But I believe that Aaron Rodgers is going to be the number 2 quarterback in fantasy. It's going to be Pat Mahomes, then Rodgers. Rodgers had a kind of a shitty year last year in the touchdown category. He usually throws a lot more than 30, which is about what he threw last year. And I think Devontae, with the addition of Adams, I think getting better, getting more targets, that'll obviously help Aaron Rodgers because he's the best wide receiver on the field, one of the best in the game. And then they have MVS and they have Geronimo Allison, now 2 years in the league, probably going to likely be better options this year. They've got a great running back core, and they have got rid of Mike McCarthy, a shitty coach. They've got a new coach. And, well, Mike McCarthy is not a shitty coach necessarily, but he seemed shitty last year. So we're going to go with Aaron Rodgers here and hope that he really could stay healthy and have a great season. So after we went Rodgers, Baker Mayfield came out the board. He was feeling a bit dangerous, this guy, and picked Baker Mayfield at the 6-2. After Baker went, Evan Ingram went, followed by Alshon Jeffrey, Lamar Miller, DJ Moore, O.J. Howard, Rashad Penny, Hunter Henry, Darius Geis, Tariq Cohen, Eric Ebron, Austin Eckler, Dante Pettis, Allen Robinson, Matty Ice, Vance McDonald, Drew Brees, Robbie Anderson, Latavius Murray, Carson Wentz, Darrell Henderson, and Will Fuller. A bunch of tight ends are already gone. There are still some solid tight end options on the board that we may look for in the next round in the 8th. But right now, we are just going to go and build this running back depth because the running back depth is key. And if we avoid tight end here, we can get a solid wideout right here. So, at the running back position, Jordan Howard is ranked above Miles Sanders on here. Now, I believe you should take Miles Sanders above Jordan Howard because reports coming out of camp today are saying that Miles Sanders has leg up on the starting gig. He could be the number 1 on the team. Today it came out that he's looking even better. So Miles Sanders is a true standout on the team, just like I believed he would be. He's a rookie. He's young. Will Doug Peterson continue to do an RBBC, running back by committee? Probably. If Miles Sanders emerges as the one on that team and Carson Wentz is able to stay healthy, I think Miles Sanders is an absolute steal in the 7th round and is a running back that I like to target a lot. Jordan Howard could also be a solid target because he might be the running back 2 on the team or the running back 1 for a couple of weeks while Miles Sanders gets a hang of it, and he puts the veteran in, a more veteran guy in Jordan Howard, and Jordan Howard can play pretty well. So Miles Sanders or Jordan Howard, pretty decent pick here. I prefer Miles Sanders. After we went Miles Sanders, now we could look more towards a wideout. Now, if we avoid the tight end here, Jared Cook, David Njoku most certainly will be gone by the time we come back. Almost 100%, I believe, will not make it back to us. So that the decision we're making here is: do we want Jared Cook, who I think is going to be better than David Njoku here, or do we want to go with a wideout that where one of these wideouts could potentially fall to us? Now, I like a lot of the wideouts later past these guys, so I think I'm willing to make that decision and not go wide receiver here. I like Christian Kirk. I like Sammy Watkins. I like Marvin Jones. I like MVS, but I like D.D. Westbrook. I like Curtis Samuel. I think some of those guys will end up falling to us in the next round, so I'd much rather just fill out the roster here and get a tight end that I know I can rely upon week in and week out. I know I don't necessarily love Cook, but I do think that Drew Brees is going to go back to targeting the tight end. He hasn't had a great tight end. I'm not saying Jared Cook is great. He's not to the level Jimmy Graham was when Jimmy Graham was and Brees were breaking all these records, but I do think that Jared Cook's a lot better than guys that they've had on the team in the past. Ben Watson, all these other names that were not very fantasy, did not have very much fantasy value. I think Jared Cook will have that fantasy value this season. So after we went Jared Cook, Christian Kirk came off the board, followed by Kareem Hunt, Jordan Howard, Sammy Watkins, Royce Freeman, Larry Fitz, Kyler Murray, Marvin Jones, Geronimo Allison, MVS, Chicago Bears, Ronald Jones, N'Keal Harry, Sterling Shepard, David Njoku, Cam Newton, Sean McCoy, Russell Wilson, Curtis Samuel, Jared Goff, D.D. Westbrook, Corey Davis. So we took the risk, and let me tell you, it fucking did not pay off. We did not. All the wideouts that I was looking at are gone. We probably should have went a wideout there. This guy went with the tactical double quarterback back-to-back Michael Jordan 96-97 maneuver. Quite the fucking strategy by that guy. This guy drafted 2 tight ends. Also quite the strategy. But we definitely missed out here on one of these solid wideouts here. So there's other options here that are still available that I do indeed still like. So one of the guys I do like still is Kiki Kuti. Now, Kiki Kuti is the wide receiver 3 on the Houston Texans. So he's not necessarily going to be a guy that is going to be on the field all the time. But I do believe that Mr. Will Fuller, his teammate. Sorry, I keep saying fucking. Am I stupid or something? I don't know. Can I talk? I don't know. I talk a lot. But Kiki Kuti is the wide receiver 3 on the team. So when they're in wide receiver 2 sets, it'll be Fuller and Hopkins. But I do think that Fuller will get hurt. Obviously, I say this in every video that Will Fuller will get hurt. I don't hope for injuries, but I think it'll happen. It happens pretty much every year. He'll be tying up his shoelaces and he'll get hurt. He'll be walking the dog and he'll get hurt. He'll be walking his fish and he'll get hurt. You know, all types of injuries happen to this guy, and it's not great. So we're just gonna go with Kiki Kuti here and hope he has a true breakout season this year on a high-powered offense. So after we went Kiki Kuti, it is now our pick again. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks left in the draft. We have a bunch of running backs. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 running backs, 1, 2, just 3 receivers, but that's perfectly fine in this situation. Right now, I think I would have been a lot happier with my team had I have not pulled the trigger on Aaron Rodgers earlier, but the starting lineup is obviously going to be better with Aaron Rodgers opposed to a guy like Dak or a guy like Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or Winston that I target semi later. But the bench will suffer because of it. But at the exact same time, Aaron Rodgers is a quarterback who could definitely win you a week pretty much by himself if he goes off. So right now, at the running back position, it is looking quite dry. We got guys like Damian Harris, AP, Jalen Samuels, Peyton Barber, Dante Foreman. Not a lot of names that I necessarily love back here in the draft, which is fine. But we still got to draft one of these guys, even if I don't love them. The option I like most out of all these guys is Peyton Barber. Now, Peyton Barber shouldn't be the running back 1. It should be Rojo, right? You would think it would be Rojo. You would think he would emerge and take the running back 1 slot in that backfield. But right now, it's still going to be Peyton Barber. I think Peyton Barber is just the most average guy, but he got like 3.1 yards per carry last year, but it doesn't even matter because if he's the running back one on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, this pick in the 10th round is going to be worth it. A team that's a lot going to be on offense heavily, and a team that should be scoring a decent amount of points in these shootouts against other teams in their division. So we're going to go with Peyton Barber here. After we went Peyton Barber, Courtland Sutton went, followed by Damian Harris, AP, LA Rams, Jacksonville Jaguars, DK Metcalf, Emmanuel Sanders, LaShawn McCoy, Jalen Samuels, Dante Foreman, Phillip Rivers, Kalen Ballage, Famous Jameis, Jerick McKinnon, Carlos Hyde, LA Chargers, Big Ben, Brady, Miller, Ravens, Alexander Madison, James Washington. So right here we could go with, there's a few running backs that I still like here on the board. We're going to go probably one running back and a receiver, or double running back here, and go with a wide receiver later, because a lot of these wide receivers that are still available I don't really necessarily like all that much. Okay, so right here, I think we are going to go with either it's Ito Smith, Breida, or Justin Jackson. Now, I like Ito Smith because I think he's going to steal some goal line work from Devontae Freeman. Devontae Freeman is concussion. He's a concussion machine. He loves getting these concussions. He probably doesn't actually love getting the concussions, but he does get them a lot, and they can't fucking run him straight up the middle, straight into 11 men that are going to smash his fucking head in. So I don't think that they will run Devontae Freeman heavily on the goal line due to this injury risk. So I think Ito Smith will be one of those sneaky fucks who walks out onto the field and snags a touchdown every couple of weeks. And he's also a guy that's going to be in the, not necessarily Tevin Coleman role, because Ito Smith isn't as much of a pass catcher as Tevin Coleman is, but Ito Smith could definitely catch a few passes, and he's going to be the change of pace back, a guy that comes out on the field when Freeman's tired, a guy that's out on the field in two running back sets. So you need to understand that Devontae Freeman is an injury-prone player. If you draft Devontae Freeman, you need Ito Smith, in my opinion. And if you want to draft Ito Smith, then go ahead and do it, because I think he will have some value this late in the draft. After we went Ito Smith, it's our pick again. So right here, if I was to go running back, it would be between Breida, Jackson, and Lewis. I'd prefer Breida or Jackson. I like Matt Breida because it has came out that he is one. Sorry, I just smacked my notebook that has all my notes on it about the videos I make every week. So I think Justin Jackson will have a lot of value here if Melvin Gordon, he will have extreme value if Melvin Gordon holds out 8 games, holds out 3 games, any amount of games, you can play him. And if Melvin Gordon gets traded, he has immense value for the whole season. He's probably going to be a top RB2 or an RB2 that you can feel comfortable starting pretty much every single week in that role. Now, we could go with either him or, like I said, Breida. I like because he's out of training camp. It says that he is going to be all over the field. He's running the ball, catching passes, and Matt Breida he's made of glass. He's gonna get fucking destroyed, but he gets back up every single time. I don't know how that guy didn't miss any games last year. He would look dead, and he would get resurrected like he was the Undertaker or something and come back. So I like that. But at the exact same time, I feel like we do end up needing one more wide receiver here before it gets dry back here. So in my opinion, I'd like to go Dante Moncrief. I don't draft him a lot, but I think he is kind of a steal back here because, in my opinion, he is better than James Washington, who could be the wide receiver 2. I think Dante Moncrief is going to be the wide receiver 2 on the team, and obviously the wide receiver 2 in Big Ben's offense is going to get targeted. He will be open. You can't play. And he's a decent receiver. He's better than James Washington, and I think that in this team, he will definitely have value on a team that should be scoring a bunch of points on Pittsburgh, and I like Dante Moncrief here in the back of the draft. The wide receiver 2, potential wide receiver 2 on Pittsburgh, the guy who I think will be the wide receiver 2. So after we went Dante Moncrief, Mr. Lamar Jackson went, followed by Golden Tate, Delaney Walker, Austin Hooper, Trey Burton, Vikings D, TJ Hawkinson, Devin Singletary, Devin Bunches of Funches, Paris Campbell, Justice Hill, third leg Greg Zerline over here, Kyle Rudolph, Jimmy Garoppolo, Matt Breida, Tyrell Williams, Greg Olsen, Justin Jackson, Dak Prescott, Devontae Parker, Dion Lewis, Houston Texans. So we currently have 4 wideouts, which is typically fine to go because you want to get more running backs. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 running backs, and 1, 2, 3, 4 receivers. So we could go with the 7 and 4 or the 6 and 5 strategy. Either typically works here. Now, I think I'm just going to go with the 7 um running back strategy here because I want to get Mr. Darwin Thompson here. Now, Darwin Thompson is going to be certifiably irrelevant if if Damian Williams is healthy week 1, like I believe he will. But if he's not healthy, Darwin Thompson is going to be getting work with Carlos Hyde, and I think that's worth it on the Chiefs offense. So after we went Darwin Thompson, it's now our pick again, and we're going to go with defense. Now, the way you're going to pick a defense is go on Google and type in NFL schedule week 1, and then you're going to find a defense that's playing against a shitty offense week 1. If they're playing against a shitty offense week 2, that's good. If not, you drop them and add a new team. The Dallas Cowboys I like because they are playing against the Giants week 1. After we got the Cowboys, Justin Tucker went, followed by Denver Broncos, Harrison Bucker, Will Lutz, Stefan Gostowski, Kyle Fairbairn, Jake Elliott, Cleveland Browns, Philadelphia Eagles, New York Jets, Mark Andrews, Marquise Goodwin, Robbie Gould, Adam Vinatieri, Giorgio Trevecchio, C.J. Anderson, John Brown, Naheem Hines, Kirk Cousins, Traquan Smith, Michael Badgley, Jordan Reed, and then our kicker, Mason Crosby. After the draft, we have the starting lineup of quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Our 2 RBs are Mr. Mixon, Mr. Kris Carson. Our 2 wideouts are Julio Jones and Stephon Diggs. Our tight end is Jared Cook. Our flex is James White. Our kicker is Mason Crosby. Our defense is the Cowboys. Our bench is comprised of Miles Sanders, Kiki Cootie, Peyton Barber, Ito Smith, Dante Moncrief, and Darwin Thompson. So thank you guys all for watching the video. If you enjoyed, please leave that like down below. And if you aren't subscribed already, please subscribe because I'm going to help you win your draft, win during the season, win during the postseason, and lift that championship trophy. So thank you guys all for watching. Have a great day. Click on one of the videos that's on your screen if you want some more entertaining content. You want some more mock drafts. You want a mock draft, I'll do it for you. It'll probably be like a week late from where you asked because I'm fucking booked. But have a great goddamn day, guys. I love you all. Goodbye.